question I have is really, are there specific proposals out there, either that have already been introduced or language that you see organizations working on, like the Land Council or others, that could help us better define jurisdictions, so at least parties can get to the question more quickly of whether this is governed by CFIUS or not?
Thank you very much for the question. As I said in the written testimony that I submitted, I think one of the key things, one of the key improvements that could be made to the kind of jurisdictional process would be a review of the definition of critical technology, specifically as it applies in kind of mandatory filings, to see if there's a way to reduce the burden on companies of having to perform export control analysis, which can be timely and costly on things that they don't actually export. So that's one concrete idea.
Thank you. And do any of the other witnesses have any specific suggestions?
Not necessarily from a legislative standpoint, but I think from my experience, especially in the government, I did recognize that there were challenges in the VC space because the need for companies to receive capital quickly. And so I think focusing on, whether it's even from congressional oversight, to ensure that the committee is processing transactions quickly so that essentially benign capital through VC investment can occur within the timelines that are often very short for those types of transactions, is a way to kind of help ensure that the committee is not unnecessarily impeding, I think, that important investment.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Doctor?
I'll just add as well that outreach is very important here. So the Treasury already does outreach to the venture community, but I think continued outreach and really emphasizing, educating venture on their obligations is an important part of the puzzle here.
Thank you. Dr. Danseman, since you just spoke, I'm curious to follow up on the concerns about consistency. Are there specific examples under this administration where you're seeing considerations outside of national security playing into a negotiation?
Well, I am not privy to the inside negotiations on CFIUS, and I hesitate to opine too directly on specific transactions. But I do think that there is a sense that in some transactions, there has been a desire to also put in place obligations that have more to do with economic competitiveness as opposed to national security specifically, and the use of mitigation agreements that have a lot of various components to it that seem quite far away from national security, especially if a transaction is not related to an entity that is directly integrated into the defense industrial supply chain. And so I would be worried and cautious about those kinds of mitigation terms.
And Doctor, I know a colleague of yours at Atlantic Council wrote a piece back in February specifically expressing concern about limitations in cross-border investments imposed by the NSPM and this administration. Are there other elements that you would point to, other concerns in addition to the ones you just raised?
With respect to inbound or outbound, I'm sorry?
In this case, it was, well, I guess it was cross-border, so that would be either.
Yeah, so I think that there are two things. First is that we should be really cautious about putting too many restrictions on outbound investment in technologies for which the U.S. is not at the cutting edge, because by investing abroad, that is a way for us to bring back technology to the United States that is important and that we could use.
Thank you, Doctor.